Hi, my name's Michael Boyle, and I'm your candidate for Bury South. I've grown up in Whitefield, and I've lived there pretty much all my life. And I know the area very well, and I know the community very well. Basically, the reason I'm running for Bury South is because I feel like I was given a second chance at life when my niece and I were involved in the Manchester Arena terrorist attacks. And luckily, we both survived with no physical harm. The second reason is because I'm really passionate about kicking the door down with this traditional two-party system that we have where people feel like they can only vote for Labour or Conservatives. I'm running as an independent, I have no political bias, and I believe that I can represent all in the community with no bias. I think that's what's needed, it's refreshing, and I honestly want to do the best I can for everyone in Bury South. Following my parents' divorce, I've pretty much grown up with just my mum and my sister. And I was very fortunate enough to have social housing. If we hadn't have had that, then we probably would have been homeless. So I definitely appreciate and value social housing. I also have a sister who works as a senior radiographer at the Christie, and I know how hard she works and everyone involved in the NHS works to make sure that we have a really good healthcare system that is essentially free. So I will fight to protect the NHS and also be on the side of all nurses and doctors. So growing up in Bury South, I attended Heaton Park County Primary School and also Phillips High School. And I was very lucky to receive an amazing education. However, I can see that education standards in secondary schools are falling, and that is something I really want to address because for me, education really helped open the door to my future career opportunities. I was able to, over the past 10 years, progress my marketing career and work for some amazing brands and companies. And it's also inspired me to become an entrepreneur. I've started my own marketing business, and I'm now working with professional athletes, celebrities, and influencers and helping them start their own businesses and equally creating jobs. I think what I can bring as your MP is this ethos of someone from the world of work. And I can relate to people in the sense that I have been exploited by business owners. I've seen people be mistreated, and I've seen people fear of losing their jobs if they don't work unpaid overtime. So I can completely relate and sympathize with people. But equally, from the world of work, I can bring a lot of contacts and a lot of experience with regards to managing huge projects, budgets, and getting the right people doing the right thing for the community. The main reason why I'm interested in being your MP is because I'm feeling really inspired by what's happening in Ratcliffe. The Ratcliffe First Party is a hyper-local party that has won seats in Bury Council, and their main focus is just on Ratcliffe. And I would love to work with Ratcliffe First and carry through that ethos of being hyper-local. I think with the two main parties, they kind of forget that local community. It becomes more of a national movement. And because I'm from Bury South and I live there, I just want the best for the community. And I want to be able to kick down the door of this traditional two-party system and really help the people who are my neighbours, essentially. The second reason why I got involved is because I have seen the area in which I've grown up in deteriorate. The libraries are closing, the schools are underperforming, the air quality is atrocious, there's fewer police, the waiting lists at hospitals are too long, and I really want to address and improve those areas specifically for everyone in the community. I want to restore trust and faith in politicians, and I think there are politicians out there just serving their own interests. One example is 54% of voters in Bury South voted to leave the European Union, and I will make sure that I represent the constituency with regards to leaving the European Union. In my first year as MP, I think it's just very important I listen. And I think it's very important to listen to the people that essentially run our community. So listen to the nurses, listen to the policemen and women, listen to the people in Bury Council and understand what their vision is for the area. But also Andy Burnham, the new mayor of Manchester. Obviously, Manchester is emerging as a political and economical force. And I think Bury can contribute massively to the success of not just Bury South, but also Greater Manchester. The reason why I'm running as an independent MP is because I just couldn't vote for any other candidate. I didn't feel confident or comfortable voting for the two traditional parties. So I don't really want to vote for Labour. I don't really want to vote for Conservatives. And hopefully there are many people like me who feel the same way. I think living in Bury South, we have a very diverse community. We have a huge Jewish population, Muslims, Christians, Catholics, and basically I want to represent Bury South as someone with no political bias. And I think I can solve the problems by building bridges and working cooperatively rather than solving problems with either Labour's ideology or the Conservative ideology. I think there's also a concern that essentially if you vote for an independent, it could be a wasted vote. The only vote that I see as wasted is someone who doesn't vote. I think there are many disenfranchised people in Bury South who just don't want to vote for Labour or Conservatives, and I'm saying to them, vote for me. With Ratcliffe, I truly feel sorry for people who pay their council tax and get nothing in return. From what I can see, a lot of money is taken away from Bury South and put into regeneration projects in Bury North, which I completely disagree with. And if you vote for me as your MP, I will completely fight to make sure that a fair redistribution of your council tax is pumped back into your community. I used to enjoy going swimming as a child at the swimming baths in Ratcliffe. Unfortunately, there's no swimming pool. There's also no school in Ratcliffe. I believe there is rumours of an academy, but I just think Ratcliffe has been failed for so many years. And it's a real shame because the people who live there are hardworking, honest people who deserve better. Success to me is understanding the real issues and understanding people in the community. I think a lot of politicians just don't understand reality. I don't have a favourite MP or politician, but I do admire those politicians who win their elections with a landslide. That to me means they were able to understand all the concerns in their community and how to address them. And that is what I want to do for Bury South. I want to be able to listen to people and understand all their concerns and use my power as MP to solve them. The thing that frustrates me most about politics is being left out in the rain However, being a Mancunian, I'm used to it. I'm not part of a big political party. I don't have a team of activists canvassing for me. I don't have millionaires funding my campaign. I'm literally a one-man show. I do everything myself, and my campaign's all paid for by myself. And I guess my frustration is I have been excluded from Ratcliffe and Prestwich hustings, where I was wanting to really passionately talk about my ideas and solutions for Bury South, but I've been excluded. And I feel that there's definitely a two-party system that's out of date, old-fashioned, and we need some new, fresh perspectives. My style will be inclusive, no political bias, and I want to represent everyone in the community without a left or right ideology. The first thing I'd do with a hypothetical £10 million is buy back the Lowry painting that the Philistines at Bury Council decided to sell off in 2006. Admittedly, it was a quick win solution to their deficit, but that painting belonged to the people of Bury. The second thing is I would rebuild the swimming pool that was demolished in Ratcliffe. I personally have very fond memories of going there as a child, and I think many children would benefit from a swimming pool in Ratcliffe. The third thing is addressing the heart disease that is so rife in Bury South. So compared to the national average, we actually have more cases of heart disease. And I think if we built more football pitches, basketball courts, tennis courts, we'll be able to address that problem as well. I can really sympathise and understand how upsetting it is for the fans of Bury Football Club to lose their team and their club. Unfortunately, I don't think it should be the taxpayer that purchases a football club. In a similar vein, businesses like Thomas Cook, when that failed, the taxpayer had to pay £60 million to pay the wages of the staff. So I think what needs to happen is, as your MP, I need to address the issues that means CEOs and owners of these companies are able to essentially mismanage businesses but still receive huge salaries. Equally, as your MP, I understand that the wider community around Gig Lane has been affected, so the cafes and the restaurants, and I would really want to work with those people to understand how I can help them. And finally, as your MP, I would want to work with the fans to help them find a solution so they can get their club back, whether that's through using my contacts with other professional athletes or helping them with a campaign or helping them with crowdfunding. I'll do all I can to help you. I can see a lot of potential in Bury South, but whilst we have underperforming secondary schools, a lack of police officers, and huge waiting times at the GPs, we just won't be able to get there. So as your MP, I want to address all these concerns and improve everyone's life in Bury South. Just a couple of places that I enjoy going to in Bury South. My first will have to be Slattery's. Without fail, I'm probably the person with the biggest sweet tooth you'll ever meet. So I really enjoy all their cakes and chocolate. If I'm fancying something a bit more savoury, I'll definitely be enjoying a curry at the Forts of India. Usually at the weekend, I also really enjoy going to Dunnell Mill in Ratcliffe because they have some really nice interior pieces, and home interiors is something of a passion of mine. A vote for me would mean you're voting for someone who's got fresh ideas, a fresh perspective, and doesn't agree with the traditional way of doing things. As we can see, it's just not working. I'm really passionate about improving Bury South because not only do I live there, I've got family and friends who also live there, and I can see what's happening to the neighbourhood. It's not good enough to have libraries closed. It's not good enough to have people too scared to even report a crime because they just don't think a police officer is going to respond to them. I really want to see the area improve massively across the board, and I believe I'm the only person who is able to do that. That represents the whole community without bias. Brexit is one of the most polarising topics we'll ever experience. I do respect Remainers just as much as I respect Leavers. Everyone's entitled to their own opinion. Personally, I decided to vote to leave the European Union. The first reason being, I truly believe we need a visa system that allows immigration into the country based on a points-based system. The second reason is there's definitely more call for decentralised and devolved power. And I don't believe that politicians in Brussels are able to truly understand the issues that are affecting us in Bury South. And we're seeing a shift from Westminster as well, with power devolved into Manchester. Now that we have our own mayor of Manchester, we're able to control budgets and resources closer to home. And I think there's still room to devolve even more power into Bury South. And I know that's something that a lot of people are asking for. So as your MP, I am fully in support of honouring the majority of leavers. I think it was 54.4% of Bury South decided to leave. And I think we just need to leave and look forward to the future and the opportunities that Brexit will bring, and there'll be plenty of them.